What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? It is your favorite Monday night sports talk show right here on Facebook Live, also known as Dr. We E Talk Sports, where we make you smarter at the water cooler. And that's what we're here to do. We've got a big show and there's a big game on right now. So we do understand that Notre Dame is up 7-0 last I checked. And so that is amazing because I am actually kind of pulling for Notre Dame because I want to see Marcus Freeman win a national championship. So I don't have any affinity or any affection to Notre Dame, but I like Marcus Freeman and I pull for all things black.
I like him, but I don't like Notre Dame, so I'm kind of torn, and I really don't like it. Well, Ohio State, I'm indifferent. So
right, and so if it was a team like Alabama, you probably put for Alabama. I know that's your squad. But since it's a squad, it's like you don't have any really allegiance to. Let's pull for the brother.
It'd be nice on MLK Day, so it'd be nice.
Right, and I'm like, there's so much significance with what happened in DC today, and all that foolishness going on, with it being MLK Day in Atlanta. I think that a black coach winning the championship would like kind of the universe's way of balancing stuff out. Like it's not going to make the next 4 years any better, but it's going to be like at least on today.
Pretty nice, and then probably some NFL team would try to get them, and then I can go back to not liking Notre Dame.
Exactly. So, all right. So we had some big things happen. So shout out to those folks that are joining us. Give yourself a shout out in the comment section and we'll give you a shout out on air. So this was the divisional round in NFL playoffs. And this is the this is the round that really has the best games because next week there's only 2 games and really it's almost melancholy because you're like, football season is about to end. For me,
next week's games are going to be so good to me. Well, both of them. So it's like every week it's less football, but the games, I guess, you're closer to the Super Bowl. So, and I'm really upset because I have to be at a work meeting. It starts at 2 Mountain Time, and the game starts at 1. So I might be an hour late because I gotta watch the game. I gotta watch it. I gotta watch it.
So let's start with your team.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel about the win? Are you just saying a win is a win is a win, or do you have any concerns about what you saw from your team?
Overall, I have concerns. Jalen hurt his knee for one. Our offense looked a little stagnant in times. It could have been just the snow and Jalen's injury because he wasn't, especially that safety concerned me. Jalen holds on to the ball too long, but that could have been some his knee after he hurt because he can't move. And some, I think he don't want to turn the ball over, so he's cautious. And then he wants to extend the play, so because he can move. So those sacks concern me, but the Rams' defensive line is actually good. So compared to Redskins and compared to the Chiefs, I don't know. Our defense looks good. I wish Dean was there, and Mitchell should be back next week because he's out. He was out. Jalen Carter is the man because he basically won us the game at the end. Because if he didn't sack Matthew, I think they would have scored.
They could have, right? They were speeding, and Jalen Carter is fantastic.
They had an open man in the end zone.
He did, but he never could get to him because there was a blocking assignment missed.
He got tagged, yeah.
And Jalen Carter got through, and he does what he does, right? And so I think here's my assessment. The further along you move into the playoffs, the better the teams get. And you can't have a net 65 passing yards from your quarterback.
Yeah, I don't think the passing yards is the issue. And the snow slowed down the pass. I don't think the passing yards was the issue. Just me.
He was hesitant on some throws. He did not, and then now
2 balls.
They had some drops.
Yes.
And now, if that knee situation that came up during the game with the way he got tackled that one time, if it's not cleared up by next week, that's going to impact his mobility. And not that Washington's defense is world beaters, right? Because they gave up 30-something points.
They got 2 turnovers against Detroit.
They got 5 turnovers against Detroit.
They got 2 picks, I should say. They got 2 picks.
3 because the wide receiver threw a pick.
Up to the 2 catches by that one player. I forget his name.
Jared Goff got to. He threw.
I thought it was 2.
He threw 2 picks. Remember, they did the trick play with the wide receiver, and the wide receiver threw a pick.
Yeah.
So that's 3 picks, and then they had the 2 fumbles. So they had 5 total turnovers.
True. And then they obviously were pressuring Goff because I think that's when he throws interceptions, when he gets a little rattled, when you put pressure on him. He's okay. I think he's good when he's not pressured.
Who?
Goff? I mean.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can say that about any quarterback. So that's
not necessarily. You can't say that about everybody now.
You're right. But if you have a quarterback that's been to a Super Bowl before, if he can make all the throws, which Goff can, if you don't rush him, he does better. I don't know. It felt like early in that game he was feeling the pressure of the game more so than the pressure of.
Yeah, it could be both. A little bit.
And so, because like that pick 6 that he threw it into like quadruple coverage. That receiver was surrounded, 2 in the front, 2 in the back. That had to be a perfect throw to get it to him anyway, and then you sail it.
You get behind, you start pressing.
And he started pressing, and then it became even worse. And he made some good plays, and I kept saying early in the game, because my son and I were watching it, and I said, you can't let a team that you're better than hang around, because now they're going to believe they're just as good as you are.
Especially Jalen Daniels.
And when Washington, it was like, oh, we can hang with them. It was a wrap.
the first half, I'm like, the end of the game gonna be 60-63 because I'm like, where's the defense? It's like every play, score. I'm like, okay, where is the defense on both teams? And then the turnovers, like out of the games this weekend, the team who won had the least amount of turnovers.
Every game, right?
Yep. Every game.
So I think what we're dealing with now is the challenges that we got from we saw. And I would say challenges. There were some limitations that the Eagles had. Now, Saquon was Saquon, right? And he gave it to him again.
Yeah, I mean, the snow kind of slowed because he slipped one time. The snow kind of messed the end of the game up. So it wasn't like a regular game. So, I mean, I think we would have had more pass at the end, and Saquon would have had more yards. Because he did slip on that one play in the snow until he got his grip.
So 205 yards is not indicative.
No, I'm just saying he still got yards. He would have got more yards if it wasn't snowing.
He gave him 250 the first time and 205 the second time. I think he's all right.
He would have got more yards. and I think Jalen would have been a little bit, I don't know. Jalen would have been a little bit better.
I think.
I don't mind. Anyway, I think
the best thing that happened.
No, defense is good for it. I think defense does win championship. And our defense.
The best thing that happened for you all is the Commanders beating Detroit.
I don't know. I think we could have beat.
But it's best for everybody, because if let's say like Detroit wins like they were supposed to, now the NFC Championship games in Detroit in that dome, in a controlled environment on a turf field. So now both teams are going to be able to not have to worry about slippage.
That's true.
cold, anything like that. It's going to be mano a mano. That's the best for a viewership standpoint. The best thing for your team now, Philadelphia, is you're at home.
Yeah.
And you've done it before. So it doesn't matter, how it is. You've been to the Super Bowl before, so you're not gonna be overwhelmed by that. And you played in the snow. You played in the snow this week.
Yeah.
And technically you played against a better team.
I wouldn't say that.
I said technically.
Maybe a better quarterback, but I don't think a better team.
The Rams are a better team because they've got a better pass rush. They
don't have a great run game.
Kyron Williams is
not against us.
What you mean?
Not against us. Not against us. We stopped the run very well. That's why Matthew Stafford was trying to throw in the snow.
You all have to have the better defensive line, so you can't
yesterday they did not have a good run game.
Yesterday they didn't, but they have a good run game.
I'm talking about yesterday. I don't watch the Rams that much to dissect.
I watch the Rams. Kyron Williams is the truth.
The quarterback may be better, but the team as a whole.
Quarterback, and then you got Puka Nacua, and you got Cooper Kupp.
I know, but we got AJ Brown, we got Devontae Smith. We got
your receiver core is better, right? But I'm just saying that it's better that the Rams is better than the Commanders because they've only got one receiver that's worth a damn. And they've got Eckler and Robinson. Nobody's going to, Eckler, they're not anybody that's going to make you afraid. Oh, there you go. Good play. Oh, flag. That's going to be a hole. But so I think the only thing that should give any Eagles fans pause is this. This team coming in there is not going to be the moment's not going to be too big for them because it's a division opponent.
I noticed we played him all the time, even though he was. Yeah.
And y'all played them twice this year. They won one. You won one.
Jalen didn't play that game. He got hurt the first quarter. I think we would have won the second game, but we don't know.
And so that's really when you have that kind of familiarity, anything can happen.
It makes for a good game.
It does. And so looking forward to that. Flipping to the other side of the equation, the AFC side of the equation. I know you're one of the people that have Mahomes fatigue.
Oh yeah, I am. I admit it.
And so
cheer for Josh.
What I will say is this. The Bills did not win that game. The Ravens lost it. And that's how I'm framing it.
That's what you feel. I think I think the Lamar
Josh had 160 yards total offense, 127 passing and like 40-something yards rushing. They ran for 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
There was nothing on that they did, especially in that second half, that made you believe that they were going to win that game. Other than the turnovers.
I agree. But if you think about it, Lamar was, I think, the best player out there other than the 2 turnovers. And whoever wins the turnover battle wins the game. But I think Josh did enough to win the game. The problem with Josh in the past was he was doing too much. And the problem with Lamar yesterday was he was doing too much on that pass. He was trying to do too much. And that's how you lose a game. So you might be right, but I wouldn't downplay the Bills. The Bills yesterday, they won the game. They did enough to win the game. Their defense did enough for them to win the game.
Oh, well, man, Daryl jumped in.
What's up, Daryl? And you think about Andrews. He had what, 3 turnovers in the last, like, how many years? I think they had a lot to do with the Bills' defense, even though they might be. They had something to do with him dropping the ball.
So Andrews, it's funny, like when those type of things happen, they say, oh, he's been such a reliable receiver. But then they looked at just his playoff record.
Mm-hmm. But see, that's the Ravens.
and he doesn't have any touchdowns in the playoffs. He has more. Oh, my man Daryl. So my man Daryl is watching us right now. He is working down he's at the national championship. He's here in Atlanta. He's working down in Natty. So he's like, he's freezing. He's a public servant. He is a MARTA police officer. It is, I'll give you the exact temperature.
30 something.
No, it's in the teens. Oh, it's 23.
Okay. I would say I have no sympathy because it's like 1 degree here. But and I was out in it today. But
yeah, when I got it this morning, it was 19.
It's cold for y'all.
It's cold, and they're already closing schools.
Oh wow.
But it is what it is. So I think that I wasn't impressed with what the Bills did yesterday. I think they did enough to win the game, and by saying enough, they only had 1 penalty and 0 turnovers, and
their defense actually played well
in the first half. Because in the second half, the Ravens were getting what they wanted. They turned the ball over in a crucial time when Mark Andrews fumbled that ball.
But do you think that had anything to do with the defense?
That one play, the guy that punched it out, yes.
So yeah, so I'm just saying that's the defense.
But that defense also gave up
turnover though.
2 tubs and a field goal.
But it cost
which they didn't give up in the first half.
But they cost a turnover. And that was a pivotal part of the game.
But that doesn't mean they're playing well. They gave up all those yards. They gave up all those points.
Overall,
one turnover doesn't erase that. One turnover does not erase that.
A top 10, but I'm like, it's a reason sometimes turnovers happens. It's called defense.
I'm not discounting the turnovers, but I'm saying that doesn't discount the fact that they were not playing well in that second half. They gave up more yards, more points, and could not stop Baltimore. Baltimore did not punt yesterday. So to say they played well, that means you have to get off the field. They didn't get off the field. The Ravens gave them that pass by Lamar was not the defense. The dude was just there. He overthrew the receiver. The receiver stopped running. The receiver breaks in. He throws it out. He caught the ball.
He got to catch the ball. Yeah.
They blitz Lamar on the second one. He's trying to switch hands with the ball. He fumbles it. They scoop it up. It's cool. That's cool. But there was no punts. So to say that the defense played well.
Overall, I'm not ranking them like our defense. I'm just saying they did.
I think they did
enough to win the game. Like the Chiefs did enough game, and they had a little help. The Chiefs did enough to win the game.
I think the Chiefs played well enough to win the game. Yes,
like amazing yesterday.
I think the Chiefs would have won without that the roughing the quarterback call. And I know everybody's talking about the roughing.
It would have, but still, it's
that's one play in that whole game.
Still annoying.
Okay, it was a whole game that got played.
Still annoying.
The Texans beat themselves because they were beating the Chiefs, right? They had more yards passing, more yards rushing. They had more time of possession. They really should have beaten the Chiefs. They beat themselves at crucial moments, missing an extra point, missing a field goal, having another one blocked. Those moments are big, crucial in a game because it changes momentum. And that's why I was like mad at Mark Andrews because he was trying to do too much.
Bad play calling, bad penalties change momentum too again. Anyway,
so who you got next week? I know you're pulling for Buffalo.
The Eagles and the Bills. That's who I'm cheering for.
Okay. And it doesn't bother you at any point that the fact that the Bills have never beat the Chiefs in the postseason.
It don't matter. Just the first time for everything. They beat them before, though.
They beaten them in the regular season.
And any given Sunday.
so we dropping cliches now for
No,
Buffalo.
I say that about any game. Any in the NFL, especially playoff time, anybody can win. That's why I wouldn't take anybody for granted. People talking about, oh, Detroit is definitely going to win. Even
We say anybody could win, but the Chiefs have
anybody
won the
can win.
past two. The
It
Chiefs have
don't
had
matter. Anybody
seven
can win.
straight.
The Bills have beat them before.
The Chiefs have been in AFC Championship 7 straight years. So we say any given Sunday. I guess unless it's not the Chiefs.
Any given Sunday, they could lose on Sunday. They could have lost last Sunday. They didn't, but they could have.
They didn't.
They did. They could have. It ain't a guarantee, is my point. I wouldn't take any team for granted. I'm cheering for the Bills. Who did you think were going to win the game yesterday between the Ravens and the Bills?
I thought the Bills were going to win because they were at home, and it played out exactly what I thought. That they were going that home advantage is why they won by 2 points, because they were outplayed. They were outplayed.
Did you think that Detroit was going to lose?
No, that was the only surprise I had. I think because you think about it like this: Josh did not throw the ball past more than 10 yards down the field. They ran the ball.
What does that matter, though?
That means they had a conservative, very conservative game plan.
He's been more conservative since he's had this new offensive coordinator. It hadn't been turning the ball over, and they've been winning with this formula. So why change it?
Okay.
I'm just saying.
That same Ravens team.
But I'm just sure if he had to throw the ball, I'm sure he could have. But why risk the turnover if you can run the ball and Cook is cooking, basically?
Because here's why. That is a dangerous formula, because against the Ravens, maybe not so much, because they have been known to make the mistake. So they were like, we're just going to wait them out.
And then,
you cannot do that against the Chiefs, because the Chiefs don't make those mistakes. The Chiefs don't turn the ball over like that.
Well, the game plan might be different next week.
They have not turned the ball over in 8 games.
They beat them. How did they beat them when they played them? When did they play?
They went for it on 4th down.
What week was that?
And Josh ran. He did that touchdown on 4th down in Buffalo.
The game dictates
in Buffalo.
It don't matter.
So
I'm just saying the game dictates play.
I just don't want you to discount the location. I don't want you to discount the opponent. I don't want you
I don't, but I'm just saying they can win. That's all I'm saying.
That cliche is anybody can win. Nobody expected the Commanders to win, and they won. So you're right.
The Texans will beat the Chargers the week before.
But there's a reason. There's a reason why the Chiefs are the favorite, even though when you watch them this whole season, you're like, there's no reason why they should be the favorite.
I know this, but I honestly don't care. I just want the Bills to win. So it might be
there it is. There it is.
At the end of the day. Do I think they're going to win? I don't know. I'll see on Sunday. Could they win? Yes, they can.
Yeah, they can win. We saw them win this year, but they won in the regular season before. So that's why I'm like, it doesn't hold as much.
I know it doesn't matter, but they have beat them before.
No, it does matter. I'm not saying
when they beat Pat. Did anybody think Joe Burrow was going to beat Patrick Mahomes when they beat him?
No, and they shouldn't have.
But they did. I'm just saying.
But Joe Burrow's a better. I think I like Joe Burrow as a quarterback better than Josh Allen.
I don't. But maybe I like Josh's style, and I like Josh, so maybe I'm biased in that way. Even though I like Joe too, but I like Josh's style of play. Maybe because he's kind of a free spirit.
Yeah, did you see the controversy that came out about him? Mm-mm. His tweets from when he was a teenager. He had some racist tweets.
How long ago was this?
He was when he was a teenager, so he was young.
I mean, when did it come out? Like today? Recently?
It came out recently. It came out like a day or two ago, and they were like they have since been deleted, but like of course, internet everything is everything. But there were some tweets from when he was a kid, and they were racist.
No, I haven't heard that.
And so, and they were like, "Oh, this is you!" Like, and it was Josh. He hasn't addressed it. It'll be interesting if they make it to the Super Bowl if it comes up, because they always when they have to do the media day, he might have to address it because they bring up all they bring nothing but plungers at media day. They bring up all old shit, right?
It'd be
So
like Marshawn Lynch. I'm on
yes,
it your song.
Marcel Lynch had the best media day press conference after his album go platinum.
Anyway.
But I'm saying that I think we have to be. If you ask me from a football standpoint, purely football standpoint, what I've seen this season from both teams, the Bills should win this game.
But
they're just like the factor that you're saying any given Sunday kind of thing. I'm saying Patrick Mahomes has won back-to-back Super Bowls and has not had the best team.
And
the Ravens were the best team last year.
Yeah.
And
they were this year, but they seem to have issues in postseason.
The Ravens and the Bills were the better teams this year. Think about how many games they beat the Broncos on a blocked field goal. They beat the Ravens because of
I know. That's why
the
I'm
like, was too like they had 6 games where they won on the last second, where they had the pass interference against the Bengals that got them in field goal range. So they haven't done it. They should have 3 or 4 losses, which would have given
which makes me mad.
Buffalo home field advantage, because Buffalo is 10-0 at home. Their losses have been on the road, and they lost to what? LA.
What was that? Was that no? That was in actual Baltimore.
They lost to the Rams, and they lost to the Ravens.
The Ravens, yeah, they got beat.
Ravens beat them down.
Yeah,
and the Rams won in the shootout. So I'm, the Chiefs cannot win a shootout. They don't have enough firepower to win a shootout, but they have a better defense overall than the Ravens do, particularly on the back end.
I agree.
And they've got a team that doesn't make the catastrophic mistakes like fumbling and letting a team almost scoop and score on you.
Oh, yeah,
or dropping a 2-point conversion that's right in your hands. They're not going to make those mistakes. And so Buffalo's going to have to go in there and beat them again.
And I hope they do. I hope they do, because I hope and I pray that they do.
We'll see.
We'll see. It's gonna be good football. Man, I'm gonna be in my meeting, but I'm gonna have my TV. I'm in my phone on my lap. I can't see the sound while I watch the game. Like I
don't know. I think so. It sounds like your order for the team, the best teams left in the playoffs. It sounds like you're saying Eagles, Bills, Chiefs, Commanders in order. Is that what you're saying?
As far as the
teams that are left, if you rank them.
If I rank them, well, I'm biased. The Eagles, I would say.
Yeah, that's what I said. Eagles, Bills.
I think the Chiefs. The Bills are playing better than the Chiefs, but the Chiefs don't lose. So, and the Commanders are scary.
The
Commanders are scary, because who would have thought they would have made it to the NFC Championship, and the Cowboys ain't been to one and win, and this is a rookie.
that quarterback, 95. They were saying this today. The Cowboys have not been.
And then the Washington, they just snuck in there like boom, boom. I like it, but I don't want them to beat us. But I like it though. But they're scary just because of him.
I like it.
I like him. Let's say, yeah, I like him, and he's scary just because don't nothing faze him.
That's the part that
nothing faze him. He's hard to tackle because he's kind of like, I don't know. He just slippery. He's smooth. I don't know. It's like he reads defenses well too. He's good. Then the rest of the team is playing better because of him. Because they're really not all that. I mean, outside of him, outside of who else is on the Commanders team? That's
Terry McLaurin.
one person.
Um, I think the tight end is old but good. Zach Ertz
Yeah,
is good.
he is.
Um,
He's old.
I like Eckler in spots, but he's not anybody that's going to make me afraid. Um, so other than that, that's it. I mean, Jaden Daniels is the straw that stirs the drink for that team.
Yeah, he
He
is. He is.
he is that dude, right? And so I don't know. I don't know how to.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's like that game. I'm like, they gonna win this game. I'm like, okay, they are gonna win this game. Mm-mm. Anyway, so we'll see. My nerves are gonna be bad on Sunday. 'Cause I think the game's gonna come down to whoever doesn't turn the ball over and whoever has the ball last. Honestly, I think it'll be a close game.
I think they'll both be close. I
Yeah,
think
well, I think both games will be close.
I think both games will be close. I think the defensive line, your defensive line, is the best in the league, and they're probably the best unit left in the playoffs. When you're thinking about just units, the Eagles defense is probably the best unit left in the playoffs. Because you look at
Mm,
Buffalo's offense and defense, Josh Allen is fantastic, but that offensive unit is not scary.
no, it's not
It's
because
Josh Allen that makes it scary.
it's Josh. Josh has to be all of that for them to win.
Yes, and
Although
more.
they have a good running back too. They do have a good running back. Cook is good.
Yeah, James Cook gets it right. James Cook gets it, but like as you saw in the second half, they started shutting him down, and they started so he can be shut down at times. The Chiefs got run on by the Texans, and so if they don't shore that up, I'm hoping that was rust because their defense has typically been pretty good against the run. So I'm hoping that was rust after being off for the better part of 20 days. Because they took week 18 off,
Yeah.
and so then you had the bye week, and so they have been off a significant amount of time. So I'm hoping that that's what it is. But outside of that, I don't see anything that would make me afraid.
No, well, I don't think no one needs to be out of these four teams. I don't think anyone's going to be afraid on either side.
No, and these teams are familiar with each other,
You just
right?
got to execute. Yeah, and don't turn the ball over. That's
So who's going to blink first? Is it going to be Josh Allen that thinks he has to make a Superman play and he'll throw the ball in harm's way, which he's done in the past, but he's cleaned that up this year. I give him all credit for that. He has cleaned it up, and he has made me I'm not a fan, but I'm appreciative.
Why are you not a fan of Josh though, in general?
I think they propped him up when he wasn't playing well. I think the media propped him up. He was making catastrophic mistakes. He was throwing it to the other team, and they were like, no, he's still one of the best. No, you can't be the best if you're throwing it to the other team in critical moments of the game. That doesn't make you a good quarterback. And so that's where I have a problem with. And the media was like, no, he's really good. He's really good. Now, the past 2 seasons, he's been
So
better.
you let the media determine how you feel about him?
No, I'm letting my eyes determine
I'm just
what
saying.
I feel about him. And what the media was doing, I'm like, why are you propping him up? When my eyes are saying this dude is making critical mistakes in critical moments. When you throw it to the other team, a turnover is a critical mistake.
I agree, like love. Like love.
Like love. I had to change my opinion on Jordan
I
Love.
still like Love, but Love, I think he's regressed. But I think he needs to work with someone. He needs to keep that aggression, but he needs to figure out how not to make better decisions.
It's one or two things, right? It's either his decision making or his overconfidence in his ability to make certain throws.
I think they go hand in hand though, because I think he's overconfident in that causes poor decision
It
making.
makes him make a bad decision. I could go with that because I just like some of the throws. You're like, bro, what are you thinking? You know, even last night on that crucial fumble by Lamar.
Mm-hmm.
Lamar gets a pass from me a little bit on that.
Why?
Because that same play happened against Cincinnati,
mm-hmm.
and he turned it into a touchdown. Bad snap off his hands. He has to get the ball. He scrambles a little bit.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Remember that play? Yeah. That was a play of the year type play. So for him to continue, instead of just going down, which most quarterbacks would have done, they would bad snap. Oh shit, here they come. Go down, take the sack. Most quarterbacks would have gone down. But because he's done it before and it's in his DNA, he's going to try to fight to make something out of that play.
True, yes.
And it ended up in the worst thing that happened was he fumbles the ball and they scoop and almost score.
You think if Zay would have played, the outcome would have been different?
Yes. Like, for example, who's the receiver that Flowers in the game? No, that's Zay. The other guy that was playing that ended up moving to be number one. Remember in the second quarter, mm-hmm. Lamar hits him on a 40-yard bomb, gets it down to the 2-yard line. Mm-hmm. They can't punch it in. They settle for a field goal. So it goes from it should have been 14-14, now it's 14-10. Yeah, that's Tucker, yeah. All right. So that's when he catches the ball, he doesn't catch it clean. He bobbles it just enough to where he can't turn and get into the end zone because he's got to concentrate on catching the ball. Zay would have caught that ball clean.
That slows you down too.
And it slows you down. So the guy was able to make the tackle because you're great play, but I need you to get that ball into the end zone because that defensive line bowed up. Now, there were some bad play calls with regards to getting it.
I think they should have, because it seemed like they win when Derrick Henry runs like 20 or more, and he like had 16 carries or whatever yesterday.
I don't think they used Derrick Henry properly. I think they should have run him more in the first half to get Buffalo's defense
tired,
closer up to the line and tired. And then you can hit him over the top because they're playing the run. Mm-hmm. I think he decided, and I'm saying the offensive coordinator decided to try to hold Derrick Henry back in the first half. And you saw they kind of rolled him out more in the second half, and it worked because he was getting bigger chunks. And I was like, okay, this might be workable, and it would have been
without the deficit,
without the fumble,
without the fumble in
the fumble.
That fumble that would have tied the game, but anyway,
that fumble changed the outcome. The Mark Andrews fumble, when that ball got punched out, all credit to the defender for making the play.
Peanut punch.
That was a game changing because I was like, they had kicked the field goal on the first drive, stop them. Well, they stopped them because they kicked the ball off to them, 3 and out. They get the ball, go straight down the field, kick a field goal, stop them again. They got one first down, then they had to punt again. They take it, go straight down the field, score a touchdown. Another 3 and out. So these is 3 possessions. They got them off the field. And not a turnover. They got them off the field. They couldn't get a first down. Now they got the ball again, and they're driving again. If they go down and score, field goal or touchdown, they're going to demoralize Buffalo and take that crowd out of the game. Turnover happens, guess what happens? Everybody feels good about themselves again. Woo, we're in it. Yeah, everybody's excited now. Buffalo goes right down. They don't even score a touchdown. They kicked a field goal, and now you got to play without error. Now your margin for error got so much smaller than if that fumble doesn't happen. But now you got to play perfect football the rest of the way. And they didn't. They did up into the 2-point conversion. And it would not have needed that 2-point conversion if that fumble didn't happen, because they gave them the 3 points to put the game at 8 instead of being at 5. So those are the things, those are the little things that happen in the game that I'm like, and when it happened, I was screaming at the TV, what are you doing? What are you doing? And that's why he felt so bad, because he knew. He knew. Mark Andrews knew. That's why they was trying to console him on the sideline. He knew. And his quarterback did him right.
He did in the press conference too.
He did him right at the podium. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what a leader does.
That's his guy. I mean,
yeah,
stuff happens. It's football. Like, who said this? I think it was Harbaugh. He said whoever wins the Super Bowl deserves it. It's hard to win, especially the higher you get into the playoffs. It's hard to win. It could be just one, and the margin of
error. And that's why Dan Campbell was crying.
Oh my God, he made me want to cry. And I'm not even a Detroit fan. I mean, I don't hate them, but
oh man,
I was like, oh my God. He was like, it's all my fault, and I was like, man, I felt bad for him. And then he's losing his offensive coordinator.
Yes, because he just saw the crawl. He got hired by the Bears. I knew that was going to happen.
So, and he might lose his defensive coordinator. Who knows?
Well,
he might. I don't know.
I think New Orleans. I think New Orleans might hire Aaron Glenn, because remember he played for them.
Mm-hmm. They might. I wonder.
So I think they might hire.
I think the Cowboys are going to hire our offensive coordinator.
Yeah, but are you going to be devastated by that loss?
No, but but
are you going to be nervous? Are you gonna, no.
That's Jerry's guy, and Jerry needs to control.
Here's the litmus test for any coaching hire. As a fan of one of the other teams in the division, does Kellen Moore going to the Cowboys make you nervous for your team?
No, it doesn't. But I'm nervous about getting a good new offensive coordinator.
Now, do you think that the other teams in the NFC North are concerned that Caleb Williams is getting an offensive coordinator that's worth a damn now?
I don't know, because being an offensive coordinator and being a head coach are two different things. So it might not translate into Bears win. I don't know.
But I think the Bears have had defensive coaches for the span of their organization.
Nagy was the offensive coordinator, and he didn't do well.
Nagy was a beneficiary of being Andy Reid's offensive coordinator. Okay. So,
Yeah, the rest of them, Lovey, Trestman,
I love Andy Reid as a coach. I tell you, I take Andy Reid over Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
7 days out of the week. The one thing about Andy Reid is he does not develop good offensive coordinators, because it's his offense. They're running his offense. And so therefore they get the benefit of being the offensive coordinator, but look at what the ones that have left him, what have they gone to do in a significant way?
Well,
and that's my point. Well, and the same thing with Bill Belichick, offensively and defensively, none of his coaching tree have gone and done anything in a significant way.
I agree with that. But I don't know how Ben Johnson is going to be as a head coach.
And I don't know. We'll see. But I think as a head coach, Dan Campbell not being a offensive or defensive guy helps Ben Johnson, because he was able to really kind of develop. It was his offense. It wasn't Dan Campbell's offense. It was his offense, so he can bring that with him too. And so that's the thing. The one coach that has seemed to have found the formula and having his disciples turn into good coaches is Sean McVay.
That's true. Just look at the Vikings.
The Vikings and in Cincinnati. That's another Sean McVay disciple.
I didn't realize that.
And we'll see what happens with Raheem here, because Raheem was here and he was under McVay as the DC. So his coaches have had some success. So especially these offensive coaches have had some success. So I think McVay has figured out a formula that good leaders hire smart people that sometimes can challenge them for their job. The mediocre the mediocre leaders hire people that can execute. I'll say this: great leaders hire people that can go in and be leaders themselves.
Yeah.
Good leaders hire people that can execute their plan. So Belichick and Andy Reid have been are good in the fact that they hire guys that can execute their plan. But the great ones,
although some of Andy, like when he was in Philly, some of his people have done well. Like Peterson was his person, and he's a good. Well, he's a good coach.
Peterson has been decent.
Hired, but he's still a good coach.
Yeah. Jacksonville is a graveyard for
dumpster fire.
Yes.
But yeah. So he's a good coach, and he's good with quarterback.
No. Peterson's a good coach, and he needs to get out of that Jacksonville situation because
Sean McDermott was with Andy Reid at one time.
Yes, he was. You're right. He was a Sean McDermott. So jury's still out on Andy Reid. On the offensive side, maybe not so much, but defensively, I do like Peterson. But Peterson was also a quarterback in the league, so he gets offense.
Yeah. He gets offense. Andy. And who else was with Andy? The Browns defensive coordinator. He was good when he was with the Eagles.
Okay. Yep. So we'll see. All right. So as we're closing,
so who's your picks for the weekend?
For next week?
Yeah. You think going to the Super Bowl?
I think Philly's going to win it because of I think the Commanders are just not experienced enough to. This is a different stage, and like they wild card round, okay. Divisional round, okay. This is a stage that says if we win this game, we're going to the Super Bowl. I think there's going to be some players that are going to come in tight. Not the quarterback, but defensively, they're going to come in tight. Do I think my old coach can?
Oh yeah, I forgot. My good friend is a Falcons fan. She was cheering for us because I can't cheer for that coach because I can't forget that game, and I thought about you.
Yes, and so that's why I have a catch-22. So I'm pulling for the Eagles, even though I do like Jaden Daniels as a player. I think he's fantastic.
He in our division. We'll see him most of the time.
I think he's fantastic as a player. And just the fact that we were watching that game, and I was like, I don't think his heart rate went up above, even in all that chaos. His heart rate was.
No, even at the end of the game, somebody would say he wasn't even watching. I think it was the field goal they kicked. He was like, he wasn't even watching it. He was like,
he's just sitting on the sideline.
I just gotta go back, So he's clutch. I like that about him, and he's humble too. Even though he's so good, he seemed humble.
Yes, and so he says all the right things at the podium. He plays well. I'm pulling for him individually. The coach.
And the people like his boys from LSU, neighbors, and I forget, it was another rookie that came and watched him in the wild card game because they've done with their season. So they gotta love him because I'm sure they was tired from the season and they flew down to Tampa to watch.
They gotta love him. He made them money. What you mean?
I mean, I think that was good because everybody.
He made Neighbors a first-round draft pick, a high first-round draft pick.
But everybody ain't gonna do that for their boy, for their rookie who made it to good. Every rookie don't make it to the playoffs though. But
you hang around great. When you see great, you got to roll with great. So I do think I'm pulling for Eagles. I want to see them. I really want Saquon to stick it to the Giants.
It would be wonderful if he won a Super Bowl and he'd never been to the playoffs. And never been to the playoffs in his years with the Giants. I know they like.
And I was telling my son today, I said, if the Eagles win a Super Bowl, the decision of the Giants to let him just go walk away with no compensation is going to be moving to my number one spot of the dumbest decisions ever made in the history of the NFL.
I thank the Giants. I will be forever grateful.
Yeah, because not only did he go to a division rival, he rushes for 2,000 plus yards.
I think he almost got a record for postseason yards.
And he's going to go to the Super Bowl and win it. And if y'all win the Super Bowl, he's going to be the MVP.
Well, I know him.
It's a running team touchdown. It's getting out of hand right now. It's 21-7 now. Well, 20-7.
Am I
He
behind?
scored another touchdown.
I'm behind. I must be behind.
They just,
Cause they're in the red zone. Yeah, I'm behind.
Yeah, they just got too many good players, man, and it's.
I don't.
Here's me. I'm sitting here like, and remember I said on this show, Ohio State was one of the better teams I'd seen. Earlier this year, I said Ohio State and Texas were the two best teams I had seen.
You did. I remember you saying that.
I said it here, and so for them to win makes me validates my statement, right? it makes me.
I thought you were cheering for Marcus,
but I ain't pulling for Marcus, right? So like, there's a difference between my head and my heart. My head.
Well, when was the last time Ohio won a national championship?
2014.
When was the last time Notre Dame won a national championship?
88.
The last time they've been there. Anyway.
Yeah, I think they've been there. I think they've been there before.
When they played Bama when I lived in Philly. I remember being at the bar.
And Bama beat. So they've been to the national championship before, but they hadn't won it since 88.
They got beat down in that game. I remember that
game. Yeah.
Because I think I was the only Alabama fan. I'm like, where did Notre Dame fans come from?
Riley Leonard. Well, this team is playing over their head. The fact that they are in the championship game, and I'm not giving up. Things can happen. They got down against Penn State. Remember, they got down against Penn State, came back. So
that game was actually good. But I thought Penn State was going to win.
But you got to think about it like this. Ohio State has, I think they said 14 or 15 5-star athletes.
The freshmen.
Notre Dame's got one. It's a mismatch. It's a mismatch in terms of the players, and players win the game. So you got, the opening drive. Did you see that stat? Notre Dame's opening drive, they went 18 plays, 75 yards. The last two drives, -4 yards. They can't.
I'm behind you, so I just see it now.
Yeah, you'll see. Yeah, okay. So my wife is watching it downstairs, and she's obviously behind because when I saw the touchdown, I was like, "Oh, they just got a touchdown!" And then I hear her yelling. She's on a delay. She's on a delay. She's pulling for Notre Dame. Yeah, we're all pulling for Well,
I like, and Ryan Clark's son plays with them, and I like.
All things black,
baby. I like RC too. I like RC too.
It's halftime, so yeah. Okay, they gotta calm down.
They might make it a closer game. That's a lot of football left, but I don't want them to get blown out, even if they don't win. It doesn't make for good football anyway when people get blown out.
I think it's going to be tough because I'm watching the body language of the Ohio State players running off that field. They feel it, and they come. And then when you got 5-star dudes, stud athletes running downhill,
some big guys too. Anyway,
yeah, and here's the other irony: the Notre Dame head coach, when he played for Ohio State.
Yeah, I remember.
He went to Ohio State, so it's his team.
He's a linebacker, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a linebacker. So it's interesting, but I feel good for. If there's anything that I feel good about, if this result holds up, is they were crushing Ryan Day after losing to Michigan. He needs to get fired. Blah, blah, blah.
He was going to get fired. If they didn't make the playoffs, he would be unemployed.
The best thing that happened to them was losing to Michigan.
I believe so.
because they realized we are a better team.
They came in, yes.
And when they got in the playoffs, nobody could compete with them. I was like, they got the weak link is the quarterback. That's the crazy thing. The weak link is the quarterback. They got two stud running backs, two stud receivers. The defensive line is all like going first rounders. They're a well built team. The cornerback Caleb Downs, first rounder. They got studs all over the field, and now they're showing out.
Well, good for them, I guess. Good for Ohio State. I've been up here 11 years, and there's a lot of Ohio. It's a lot of Notre Dame people here too. But they talk.
Yeah, South Bend.
And I always, you're talking about SEC this year. I can't say too much, but
I used to have
about Big Ten.
Well, the thing is, the SEC has got to get it together because.
Well, I don't think it's NIL and playoffs.
The arrogance of the SEC caught up with them this year because
I don't think that they're not as good as they used to be. I think it has a lot to do with this transfer portal. And I don't think it's going to change.
No, and they're going to have to.
And then Saban's gone.
Rework, right? So, but Kirby was the next second coming until transfer portal. Now what you gonna do? And here's the thing. I had a conversation with a Georgia alum, and he was more candid than I expected him to be. But he was like, Kirby has a blind spot when it comes to athletic black quarterbacks.
I didn't know that.
Because one that he had went to Ohio State and ended up in the Heisman race, right? And became a first-round draft pick. And his quarterbacks have been milquetoast. I'm talking Green and Stetson Bennett. And
they have been the weakest part of the team.
Exactly. And now when you don't have 5-star on the depth chart on all of your other positions, because of their transfer portal.
Yeah, because they want to play.
Your quarterback play has to be better.
I agree. It does.
And it wasn't.
And it's not. But I love Georgia because half of our defense is from Georgia.
I pull for Georgia, and now I'm pulling for Georgia even more so now because a kid that I used to coach got recruited, and he's going to play there next year. And he's already getting.
He plays what position?
Tight end. They've already written articles about him, talking about they're comparing him to Brock Bowers, which we knew when we saw him years ago as a kid. I was like, this kid's gonna be something special, and he just kept getting better and better and better. So there are already articles talking about, and the guy that wrote the article was like, I don't want to say the name, but he was like, this kid is the closest thing I've seen to Brock Bowers, because he's more of a receiver than he is a tight end. But he's got that nasty in him that he'll put them hands on you if he need to.
He'll be like,
I love him, and comes from a great family, and I love everything about them. And so I'm rooting. So I will have a more of a vested interest in what's happening in Georgia now that I know I got a kid that
actually plays on the team.
So. And I've been telling them when I talk to Georgia alumni, I said, I'm going to give you a name to pay attention to next year. Look out for this kid. But you need a quarterback. And Kirby, he's got a style of quarterback that he likes. He wants them controllable. He wants them to run the play that he calls. Hit your back foot, throw it out. Don't run around. Don't try to make another play. And that's what he likes. And so he's got a blind spot, and I'm.
If you look at all the quarterbacks, even in the playoffs. I mean, the mobile quarterback is. I mean, you need to be able to throw, but you need to move.
Look who's going to be at the top of the draft.
Yeah,
your boy from Miami, Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah,
these kids can move, man. Look who's playing in the NFL playoffs.
The
quarterback that's left.
Josh moved. I mean, Josh,
All four of them. All four of them.
Patrick,
Patrick is
Jalen,
the
and
worst of the
Jaden.
four.
And Jaden.
Patrick is the worst of the four when it comes to running the ball, and he's still mobile.
But he mobile. I mean,
he's mobile as hell.
Plays. And Josh is
that dude when it comes to running.
Even when they did you see the evolution of the quarterback?
The evolution of the black quarterback?
Mm-hmm. You saw
I watched that series.
So they even had Josh on it. Because he was talking about how they influenced his play.
Yeah. He understood that the game got changed, and that's what they were resisting when they wouldn't let black quarterbacks play, right? You had to be a certain type of black quarterback.
So yeah, I'm just like, if people were talking about we could have been four black quarterbacks in the playoffs. I'm like, well, we got 3, and Josh can get an invite to the cookout.
So yeah, I think Kirby's gonna have to figure that out. And then he hasn't really brought in great receivers either, because they were dropping balls left and right. They had like over 30-something drops this year.
Because the backup quarterback actually threw okay, but it's like they kept dropping his freaking balls, and I'm like, why weren't they running the ball anyway?
And ETN's going to go pro, so you're going to have to replace your running back. And I heard they got a 5-star kid coming in. You have to replace your quarterback, and your receivers were lackluster. So he's got to do a better job of in this era. And then also he can't coach the Nick Saban way, where you beat him down, and because they're gonna transfer out.
That's true.
Because if you're a 5-star player, there's other D1 programs that will take you.
That's true. If you're like, even though Nick is rough, people maybe because he was winning, people like Nick overall. After they leave,
they did. But NIL has really changed the game.
So
and transfer portal, those two things have changed. Nick pretty much grew up outside of that, and he was putting guys in the pros. So guys will take abuse of like, hey, if I stay on this team, I'm going to the pros, and I'm going to be a top draft pick, not a 3rd or 4th rounder. I'm going to be a 1st or 2nd rounder, and I can get that check. So I would take 3 or 4 years of abuse if I know I got $1 million check waiting on the back end. Now these kids getting $1 million before they even step foot on campus.
That's true. The NIL.
So they're like, shit, what you mean? So they're expecting to be treated differently. And they're like, you got to re-recruit these kids every year because of transfer portal.
That's true. So I couldn't be a college.
Right. And so I don't that's know why Nick got out. When he got out, I was like, he ain't trying to do all that.
Now what's gonna happen with my team, Bama, with this new coach? He's
we'll see.
I don't know. Maybe I'm old school. I think
Alabama. Here's a problem with Alabama. Alabama has limitations.
Nick is gone.
Because Nick is gone, and because they are in a city and that doesn't have a lot of industry, where there's not a lot of NIL money. So you're going to have to rely on your big money alumni to fill your NIL coffers. Whereas schools that are in big major cities or closer to major cities that have, it's just the South and the SEC teams, but Austin's going to have, University of Texas is going to have way more money.
All that oil money.
All the oil money. You're going to have schools that have way more money. Oregon, they getting studs left and right. Why? Because they got Nike money. The money issue, and Nick talked about this before he left. He was like, remember when he did that press conference and he was talking about Texas A&M buying players, and he got into it with Jimbo Fisher?
I remember that, yeah.
What people missed, they just heard that soundbite, and that was great. But what he was saying was, he was talking to a room full of his boosters, and he was like, y'all gonna have to break bread because we don't have.
We need money to get these.
We need money to get and keep these players, and we don't have oil money like Texas A&M. And that's when he said, because they bought their whole offensive line, and they were like, what? And they all get mad. But he was absolutely right. Alabama doesn't have the financial resources to be able to compete in the NIL space. And because the dude, like one of the dudes that's back in University of Florida, is the big lawyer dude that's everywhere, Morgan and Morgan. He's a University of Florida alum, and he
Oh,
went to law school there. He's kicking millions of dollars into their NIL fund
University of Florida.
to give the University of Florida. So that's why they can give a quarterback $10 million. The kid that's playing quarterback for them now, and I'm like, keep an eye on this kid. He was a freshman last year.
He's good.
The kid at University of Florida is very good. That's how the coach was able to keep his job, because the kid that was a freshman that's playing well, he's like, I like him. And they're like, they don't want him to get in the portal. So they kept Billy Napier in his job to coach this kid.
Good. Well,
Because the kid said he liked him.
He kept his job. That's good. It's like some NFL stuff. The players have more say so.
The players have more say so. And I was like, wow, that's the era that we live in now. When the kid was like, I like him. And they were like, no, we're going to keep this coach, because if we fire the coach,
and he's good,
he might leave. And he's very good. If he stays healthy, he's really, really good. I was watching him. I was like, oh, this kid is good. And then they got a running back. And then I think they got University of Florida is going to be better next year.
Well, good. They upset Ole Miss.
I'm like, and Georgia it seems like on a decline.
I don't know. We'll see what the SEC turns.
Florida's going to win at least 8 games next year. They might win 9. Is that going to be enough to get them in the playoffs? I'm not sure, but they're going to win probably 9 games next year.
So, do you think Melrose should go to the NFL? I heard this debate on Facebook.
I think, and I heard this argument today, and I agree with it. I think that the fact that athletic and mobile quarterbacks are winning in the NFL raised his draft stock, because he's got a great arm.
He does. He turns the ball over.
He's mobile as hell, and he's faster than most DBs, linebackers. He can run out. He can run. If he can get the right coach that can polish his skill set, he's going to be fantastic. That's what I feel about Milroe. Now, that may mean he's going to have to wait till the second round, because nobody's going to waste after this season. I don't think a team's going to put a first round grade on him.
Yeah, I don't think so either. People were saying he should go back to school,
and maybe the NIL money dried up, because you saw Carson Beck. Carson Beck took $10 million to go to the University of Miami, and he's terrible. He ain't worth $10 million. I mean,
he may not worth $10 million. I wouldn't call him terrible. He's not great, but he's okay. He ain't worth $10 million. I agree, but I think he's okay quarterback.
And now I'm always about showing my bias. My bias is this: the kid. Remember I told you about the tight end that's going to Georgia? His quarterback also at the high school here in Atlanta. They won state championship. The quarterback is another kid that I also coached on that same team. He is at the University of Miami right now as a quarterback, and his brother transferred from Michigan State. He was a tight end at Michigan State. Now he's down there at the University of Miami. Mm-hmm. So they're down there together. And Luke is phenomenal. He's Mr. Georgia in football. He broke all of these records, blah, blah, blah. Luke is very, very good. So Carson Beck going to Miami for $10 million NIL means he's going to play.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm like, that's going to set Luke's timeline back in terms of getting on the field.
Yeah.
And that's where my bias is.
I got you. I'm just saying he's okay. He's not great. He's okay.
He's not great. He may not be terrible. He's not terrible.
If he has a good
offensive line. This is his third school, though. This is his third school, though.
And don't get pressured, I think he does better. He gets rattled.
Oh, come on, man. That's a lot. That's a lot of ifs.
But
a lot of ifs.
College football, it's a lot of quarterbacks that don't do well if they have a good running game and a good O-line. You don't have to have a great quarterback to win in college. Mm. You don't. I mean, you might not win a national championship, but just to win, you don't. There's a lot of teams with okay quarterbacks that do well in college.
But I'm gonna tell you like this:
Look at JJ.
when,
People didn't think he was that good. I want to
when
hate on
Arch
JJ.
when Arch Manning gets a full season, I want you to keep your eyes on Texas because Arch Manning is the truth.
They ain't gonna be good, and they
He
just
can run and throw.
they just extended his contract.
So Arch Manning is going to be good.
Texas, I don't know about the rest. Ohio, how they gonna be? Is that quarterback?
They got some kids behind him that so if this kid can't go pro, so he might come back. But they got him out of Kansas State.
Yeah.
He was a transfer portal kid that he put up. So was Riley Leonard at Notre Dame.
Oh,
He was at
I don't know where he was, but yeah, I know he's transfer.
I think he was at North Carolina.
Oh well, behind was he behind Day?
Yeah. So they got him from another school. So transfer portal is changing.
It is.
Yeah, because I mean this is Carson Beck's third school. He started at USC, Georgia, and now he's at Miami.
So how do they have a limit on how many times you can transfer?
No, as long as you have eligibility. As long as you have eligibility. And so we were talking about that in a macro sense that how it has, because of the transfer portal, teams are offering fewer and fewer scholarships to kids coming out of high school.
To get somebody else transfer. It's like the NBA. You just move around.
So for example, like here in the state of Georgia, they said that the year before transfer portal, 500 kids got D1 scholarships out of the state of Georgia. This year, 250. It's half because they're like, no, I can get a kid from another D1 program.
Yeah, and
that's already played that I can see tape on him, not from high school.
Yeah,
I'll take that kid over a project coming out of high school because I don't know a freshman, right? So these kids are now having to go to smaller schools, Kansas State, Vanderbilt, Georgia Tech, whatever, and then transfer in. So you don't really get it. So it's taking and with the ones that are getting NIL, they're like Carson Beck was graded as a second or third round pick. His whole contract as a second round pick in the NFL could be worth $10 million. And he's gonna make $10 million in 1 year.
I'm really not mad at him, but I don't think he's worth it. But I'm not mad at him.
He's not worth it. I agree with you.
I'm not mad at him. He could be good for like $10 million and never play another freaking game.
Here's where if I'm mad about anything, and I'm not mad at him, like get your money. If somebody's willing to pay you, you're worth it, right? So I'm on that team. I'm on team. If they give it to you, you're worth it. Here's where I'm mad about it is the people that are gonna have to pay for it are the fans. Because this NIL money is not coming out anyway. Like they're not creating money. And schools are already charging more for tickets. They're already charging PSL license. They're already asking alumni for there in some schools are even thinking about putting
tickets cost more than NFL tickets to go to the games.
And some schools are even contemplating putting an NIL fee on the students' tuition.
Oh, really?
So because they're trying to find ways to offset the cost of I got to pay a quarterback $10 million. That's just one player.
I know, yeah.
You see, Belichick hired a GM for his team, and he's at North Carolina. He's not even at a powerhouse school. So think about a powerhouse school, what they have to do with all these kids and all their expectations. So that's where I'm mad about it. I'm not mad at the kids. Get what you can get. Particularly, you might get injured. You never know. That money
you might be set for life. $10 million. I got $10 million in college.
And for all of those years and players before them that were getting exploited and they gave their bodies up to these teams and never got to play in the NFL because they got injured or could only play in the NFL for a few years because they were beat up because of their college years. I have no problem with them getting the money. That's my official stance. I'll say that till the cows come home. But there is a consequence to these kids making that much money now.
I agree.
And as a fan, we're gonna have to pay for it.
Certain schools can't really. In some schools, it's no big thing, and it depends on who actually putting the money.
The Texas A&Ms, the Texases,
they'll be fine.
Those schools, they'll be fine. But I'm talking about, Kentucky, what are they going to do? Right? They're going to be a second-tier program in a first-tier conference. So now it's like, all right, maybe I'll go to Kentucky. If I'm a 3-star, 4-star, I'll go to Kentucky, make some plays, and then transfer to a bigger school, right? And so those are some of the challenges. I'm not crying for them because when you're a college football head coach, you're making millions of dollars. You in most states, particularly in the Southeast, you're the highest paid state employee. That's what Nick Saban was. I know, and Kirby Smart is. Yeah. Highest paid state employee is a head football coach at the university. That's ridiculous, but that's what
the salary and the other perks.
So that's where we are. Not, get your money. Again, I'm not going to hate on anybody getting their money. But there's consequences. There's consequences to Russell Westbrook making $50 million a year when he was disruptive to a team, right? So there's consequences.
You got to make him an example like Russ.
He should have been making $50 million too. I like Russ. But that was the contract that he signed. It was fully guaranteed. Look,
if I was a professional football, whatever, you show me the money.
Yeah, so that's where we are. But I think I'm gonna go down here, eat these wings, and watch the destruction of Notre Dame. They had a great season. I know Marcus is going to be. He's going to say the right things at the post-game conference interview. He's going to say the right things at the podium. And his team overachieved to get there. So congrats to him. But this Ohio State's too much. Too much.
Well,
not bad.
College football. We'll see what next season brings.
But is this a year where the Super Bowl is 1 week or 2 weeks after the?
It's February 7th, whatever weekend that is.
Okay, so it's 2 weeks.
So because they got this the
because next week is the championship game, and that's going to be
and then that's the
wait I take it. So tomorrow's the 21st. All right, so next weekend is the
26th, 7th.
So it might be just the next week, right?
And it's still because it's the week of the 1st. Because the 31st is a Saturday. I think February 1st. So it's a week after. They do the Pro Bowl and then it's the Super Bowl.
They started sandwiching the Pro Bowl between it.
Yeah. Pro Bowl and the Super Bowl.
Although all right,
so it's NFC Championship, Pro Bowl.
Today's the 20th, so the NFC AFC Championship game is going to be on February 1st. And then if the game is on
the NFC Championship is next week, which is the 26th, isn't it?
No. Oh, yeah. You're right, 26. You're right. My bad. Then there's a week off. Then there's the Pro Bowl. So we got 2 weeks. Okay. So we'll be back in 2 weeks giving y'all's
it'll be right before the
Super Bowl prep. Super Bowl prep. Unless you want to wait 3 weeks and do the post-Super Bowl game. Sure.
I'll be in New Orleans. So
we'll see y'all in 2 weeks.
I'll be in New Orleans either way. So anyway, if the Eagles are there or not, I'll be in New Orleans. I won't be at the game if the Eagles won't be there, but I'll be in New Orleans.
I got you. So we'll see y'all in 2 weeks. Give y'all Super Bowl prep.
Yeah, but then the end of football. I love this time of year, but the end is near. Even though the end is near, I get sad when football is over.
Absolutely. So, thank y'all for joining us. Enjoy this whatever left of Ohio State.
Halftime. It's still. I think
you still have time. That's perfect.
Commercial, I think they get back to it.
From a television standpoint, I hope Notre Dame gets back in the game so people continue to watch. Otherwise, the ratings are going to go down significantly.
Yeah, and it's late too. Well, yeah, it's late, especially on
yelling.
Okay.
So something bad must happen.
No, it's a commercial on my TV. It's a commercial on my TV. So.
Yeah, but I hear my wife yelling downstairs, and she's like, "Come on, Notre Dame!" So it's not. Something's not happening.
Am I delayed? I am delayed.
You're delayed. So
I'm really delayed. I must have mashed pause on my TV or something. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I will see you in 2 weeks.
All right, y'all. Take care.